Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Let their mouth pass all their dirty remarks. There's one question I'd really love to ask. If there's a place for the hopeless sinners who has hurt all mankind just to save his own, believe me, one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and that will be alright. Let's get together and feel alright. As we call our next presenter this afternoon, the area representative, parliamentary representative for constituency St. Kitts Street, the Honorable Sam Condor, to give us his words of admonition tonight. The Honorable Sam Condor, we welcome you to the podium. Give a round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Gustavo Penny. I would like to acknowledge former Minister of Education, Mr. Rupert Herbert. I'd like to acknowledge some of our social activists, people like Sister Sylvine Henry, Mr. Larry Harmony. I'd also like to acknowledge and recognize social activists in the right, but media personalities as well. Carla Astafan and Tony Fredericks. Armstrong, sorry. I am particularly pleased to be here this afternoon again, and I will recognize Brother Levy Hawkins, who has been here on an annual basis as well. I would like to recognize, really, in their absence, Probin Innes, who has been here every year that I've been here, and Elder Washington Archibald. And as I mentioned him, I like to remember him in my prayers. He was my history teacher in school, history and English teacher in school, and a great inspiration to me. And so I like to acknowledge him, acknowledge both of them in their absence. I am particularly pleased to be here this afternoon on what I consider to be my annual pilgrimage to the place where we celebrate the Buckleys Uprising in 1935. In fact, we are celebrating this year the 80th anniversary. And it is important that we come annually to do this. It is said, a people, I think it's Marcus Garvey who said that, a people without a knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots. It will only wither and die. And in fact, going to the Bible, I think it is in Hosea. I don't know if my friend here, who is a Bible student, will be able to help me. I think it is in Hosea, which says, a people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And so, I would like us really to consider that. Building the knowledge of our people. Because it is only in that way, a knowledge of our history, that we'll be able to understand what's happening in the present and to guide us to the future. And so as we celebrate our 80th anniversary of the Buckleys Uprising, we are also celebrating the 40th anniversary of the land acquisition right here in Buckleys. The coming to Buckleys 40 years ago, I think it was on the 31st of January 1975, to acquire the lands on behalf of the people was an act of recognition to the people who on January 28, 1935 demonstrated their disgust about the social, political, and economic injustices and imbalances that were taking place in this country. So 40 years ago, in 1975, January 1975, it was really, I think it began the celebration of the Buckleys Uprising. And so we have come annually to celebrate that. But what was the Buckleys Uprising about? It was a demonstration, a response to, like I said earlier, the political, social, and economic injustices. And it is from that situation in 1935 that we were able to achieve land reform, which culminated in the 1975 land acquisition. It was out of that that we got the birth of the trade union movement. It was out of that that we got the housing revolution. It was out of that that we got the elective principle. It was out of that that we got health reform. It was out of that that was established the National Provident Fund that was supposed to address the issues of providing for workers at the end of their working life. But most of all, the Buckleys Uprising demonstrated the human spirit of resistance to injustice and oppression and inequality. That is what the Buckleys Uprising demonstrated. It was a group of ordinary men and women, working class people, who saw the injustices, the social, political, and economic injustices in the country, and they demonstrated that. And so that is one thing we could learn from the Buckleys Uprising of 1935. That wherever you see injustice, you must stand up against it, whatever the cost. And people paid the ultimate sacrifice in 1935 for doing that. And so, as we come, I know the theme for this year is to build a monument, and it is always important. In fact, in the Bible, it spoke of building an Ebenezer to remember, as a remembrance of our forefathers. And so it is always important to build a monument. But first, you must build the knowledge, because you must know what the monument signifies. You build your country not by bricks and mortar, but by building on the values and the traditions and the beliefs of your forefathers. This is what the Buckleys Uprising must mean to us as a people. And so as we celebrate 80 years, I hope as we go on from year to year, we will always come to the greater realization and understanding of what this Buckleys Uprising means. It was the beginning of the transformation, the social, political, and economic transformation of the people of this country. And in fact, it went further afield throughout the Caribbean. And so we could be proud, extremely proud, of the contribution that our forefathers made to our lives. We are who we are because of their sacrifice. One of the other things that the Buckleys Uprising must mean to us is the courage that they demonstrated. The courage that they demonstrated to oppose the might of the state with their guns and the militias and all what they had. The courage to stand up in the face. And as a colony, the backup was in England with the English army. That is what they were fighting against. Not only here, but they were fighting against the British Empire. And ordinary folks decided that they were going to make the commitment. They showed courage. And that is what we must learn as well from the Buckleys Uprising. Those are lessons for us, and which I hope that we could learn. Because, especially in a time like this, especially in times like these, our country, our people need to understand that if you are to make a difference, if you are to make a difference in terms of where you want to see your country going, that is what it needs, that is what it demands. And so I've come, like I said, particularly pleased again on my annual pilgrimage to pay tribute to our forefathers, some who paid the ultimate sacrifice, but who have all gone on to their place. Well, some of them, most of them I'm sure. I'm not sure there are a lot of people around now who were here 80 years ago. But I've come to pay tribute to them and the work they did. I am who I am because they made that possible. A little poor black boy, could rise to the second, at one time, the second highest elected office in the country. That could not have happened. Could not have happened were it not for 1935. And that is why I have committed my life to continue the struggle, to show the courage that my forefathers showed in 1935, to make sure that all wrongs are righted and that the people of this country, the ordinary people of this country, benefit equitably from the resources of the country. That is what 1935 was about. And we got to make sure that we do not lose that. So the real tribute that we could pay to the people, to our forefathers, building a monument is good. But building the knowledge and showing the courage and the commitment and the conviction to oppose injustice and wrong and to put our country forward. That is the real message of 1935. And so I want to recommit, to rededicate my life to that struggle, to that cause. Like Nelson Mandela said, the struggle is my life. And so I want to thank the Nyabingi movement, Raspeni, and others for keeping this ceremony alive. Keeping the ceremony alive. Of course, the crowds, like we said, the gathering is not as big as we would like it to be. But wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, and I'm pleased that you continue in spite of we'll not be having big crowds. It is wherever 2 or 3 are gathered. But in the final analysis, we must spread the gospel of the good news of 1935, and to let people know we are who we are as a people because those people fought and died to make us who and what we are. So thank you very much, Mr. Penny, for your invitation and for giving me an opportunity to speak. And like I say, it is always a pleasure to do that. Thank you very much.